Hello everyone, welcome to another Making My Day Lovable video. And today I'd like to talk about volunteering and whether it's a yes or a no, basically. Why? Because I had a couple of conversations and interactions in the recent weeks, months, and already before about volunteering for something, a certain activity. And to me, like personally in my private life, I do some volunteering regularly. A couple of times per year I go to a very specific outdoor village, it's called, 1.5 hours south here from where I live, and either I help there with cleaning up the whole campground, the whole area, making it ready for spring and summer, or ready for fall and winter, or I help on the trail runs as a volunteer, or on any other kinds of occasions. And usually we're a group of like 20 to 35 people that regularly go there and became kind of friends and acquaintances that meet up there and enjoy helping and doing like physical work outdoors, and at the same time we couple it to barbecuing, being together, hiking. And we usually get running shoes or like some sweaters or jackets as a compensation, and food, and we can stay in the cabins basically for free for our help there. So this is what I do in my private personal life when it comes to volunteering, and I really like this a lot. And I think I just love it because I'm very much into outdoors, and then through that I met people as well that became my friends. So I'm a big yes to volunteering like that. Volunteering when it comes to professional life, I have a little bit of a different opinion. So being in academia, studying, doing my PhD, I see certain parts of academia are based on volunteering actions, like for example the reviewing process of reading articles from other researchers, evaluating them, and basically giving feedback whether they should be published or shouldn't. And that's done for free basically. I also believe that it shouldn't be paid for, because that will make it more corrupt. People will try to review more and more, the quality will not be given. So there it's a bit tricky, but I noticed that in the field of academia there is a lot around that. There's also a lot of taking things for granted, in the sense of like, well, you should of course work more than 8 hours a day and on the weekends. It's science, that's what's done. That's not really volunteering, that's kind of almost slavery in my humble opinion, let's say. But like in certain countries, you have to pay for your PhD, doing a PhD, or you get 60% paid only. So it's a type of exploitation. So I don't like that, especially when it is with such high knowledge and combined with such high knowledge and skill, and so specific, targeted niches that you just do not compensate people whatsoever. I have also been asked a couple of times to participate in conferences where I'm supposed to travel to the other side of the world, from the Arctic here, without having the flight compensated, the stay compensated, the time compensated, the workshop I should give compensated, none of it. Just, as what? I don't know, as a volunteer basically. I declined, because in my worldview this cannot be, that's not acceptable. This is exploiting people again, like wanting everything and not giving anything. And there are certain organizations, non-profit organizations, other organizations that depend on volunteers. And my opinion here is, of course, only my opinion. Everybody's supposed to do whatever they want to do with their time and their resources. But there are certain thresholds to be careful about, because people look for people to give things for free. And giving and offering things for free makes people that take those not appreciate them as much and not put as much effort in there. For example, when you give out like 50,000 freebies, people will not stick through and go through a program when they actually haven't paid. If they pay at least a little bit of something, then they behave differently. And for volunteering, like for an organization, I think we need to really consider how much of our time do we want to spend doing that, because if it becomes 5 to 10 hours per week, it's a lot, especially as an entrepreneur. We need to think about, like, we need to make ends meet and pay the bills, and if we give our skills for free for such a long time, then what do we get back? So I had to decline a couple of these types of occasions and possibilities, because I saw that it would extend to too much time for me, and I'm being frustrated because there wouldn't be it's impossible to have a limit. And from my experience of what I do, I know it takes time. I know that I'm quite efficient, I'm very efficient, and I can fix things very fast. But that is because I have trained, and I'm like, I learned this and I accumulated the knowledge and the skills over time, and that makes me that efficient. And if I just give it away for free without any compensation, I'm disrespecting myself and my time and my value that I give, basically. And if somebody doesn't want to give anything or much anything back, I don't feel that I am respected properly either. So, but then I agreed to another volunteering experience, actually, to become a type of mentor, where I once per month for an hour, if people are interested having me as a mentor, I could sit down with them and talk to them. And that's something for me that I'm fine doing. It's an hour of chatting with people that potentially could be helpful for them, but it also could be that nobody's interested in talking to me and, share, like me sharing my knowledge or my background that I have. That's also possible. So it's completely open, and it is limited to once per month for an hour. And that's something that I think is totally doable for me, because I like to interact with people. At the same time, I shared with the organizer of that platform and it's about mentoring, and that I have a mentoring program myself, and I would like to do that. So in case somebody really wants to get more support and access to me, they could sign up for that. But I don't want to sell that either. It shouldn't be a salesy thing, but I shared it openly and transparently and said, this is what it is. So if anybody would ask me, I have that as an offer. And if they agree to it, what I want to do then, that I want to then do a type of referral fee, that a certain percentage of what I get from that person gets to that organization. That's a non-profit organization that should help researchers. So that's my way of then, one hand washes the other. And the conversation was very open, honest, transparent, and and it's basically, as long as we stick to certain moral and ethical guidelines that are quite high, that both parties agree, we could try it. So that's why I, in that case, agreed to it. So it's always a weighing back and forth, and to really listen. And in my case, I really need to listen to my intuition. Is something coming off there? So if something feels off, and I perceive something off, and that I know already that I will not feel happy and glad having done that or doing that, it will put pressure and stress on me, then I will not do it. But if it's a loose thing where it's, it's possible or not, depending on the need, I agree to doing that. So these are my thoughts on volunteering, yes or no. Sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no, depending on the professional or personal, outline. It's I think in the end totally up to us and our values and our time and what we think works best for us. That's the first and the most important thing. What works best for us or for me in the first place, and then I share or not, I volunteer or not. That's it for today. I hope you have a nice Monday and a great week ahead. And if you have any thoughts about that, feel free to share. Otherwise, see you next week. Bye bye.